I'm your host, Kim Chafee, and together we'll explore any topic that impacts a woman's quality of life, from leadership and personal growth to health and financial security. Join me and discover how a fearless conversation can shape the future you deserve. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to In Fearless Conversation. I want to start today by congratulating you because you clicked play on this episode even when you knew we were going to talk about speed today. Speed for so many women is not something that they want to train. It's something that can be very intimidating. Often we think about speed as something that's just for fast runners or elite athletes. But today, we're going to expand your mind when you think about speed because it's something we can and should access. At 261 Fearless, when we talk about speed, we're not talking about the pressure or the performance or the requirement to run at a certain pace. We're talking about reconnecting with the playful and powerful side of running. Today, we're going to explore what speed really means for women, why it matters, how it changes as we age, and what actually happens inside of our bodies when we run fast. I know it can feel like this is something else I have to think about and train, but it really is very simple and can fit into our busy lives. We're also going to talk about some of the barriers that women face when it comes to training speed. And I'm very excited that today we have two experts joining us as we lay out all the facts for you on this topic. Our two senior education program managers at 261 Fearless. You know Dr. Juliette McGrattan, if you've listened to this podcast before. She has joined us on a few episodes. And joining us today for the first time is Marlies Hirschbach. Dr. Juliette McGrattan is our resident women's health expert. After 16 years of working as a GP, Juliette is now an international speaker, an award-winning author, and a trusted voice for women around the world. And Marlies Hirschbach, making her debut on In Fearless Conversation, is a sports scientist at 261 Fearless. Her research focuses on the effects of the menstrual cycle on endurance performance. It's work that helps us better support women at every stage of life. Okay, let's get this conversation going so we can explore speed from several different viewpoints. And I really, truly think you'll walk away feeling more confident, less nervous about training speed, more fearless perhaps when it comes to embracing it. It's going to be a good one. Let's get started. Welcome, Marlies. Welcome, Juliette. Marlies, this is your first time on the podcast. Can you tell us a little bit about you? Just give us a brief overview of what you do with 261 Fearless and outside of 261 Fearless.
Yes. Hello, Kim. Hi, Juliette. Thanks so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here for the first time. I'm a sports scientist and I'm working in the education team of 261 Fearless Inc. I'm from Austria. So please excuse my English, but I hope that you can understand everything I say.
Yes, it's going to be great. And Juliette, welcome back to the podcast. Can you just briefly share what your role with 261 Fearless is?
Yeah, sure. So I am a part of the education team, along with Marlies, with the education program senior managers. And we get the pleasure of helping to create and to deliver the education program, which is a very special thing. It's an honor and a privilege. And we get to help our coaches to learn to become coaches and to improve and to learn all about women's health and women's running. And yeah, what a job. How lucky are we?
Right? And how lucky am I that I get to be with both of you today? And Juliet, in case people aren't able to tell, can you let us know where you are located and based?
Did my accent not give it away? Yeah, no, I'm from
Okay.
England in the northwest, up near Lancaster, and I'm part of 261 Club UK, and I coach at 261 Club Lancaster up here in the northwest.
Awesome. So we have a true international podcast today, since I am in the US and the two of you are over in Europe. And our topic today is one that is quite intimidating, I think, for a lot of women. It's something that they don't, I would say, we don't really look forward to training. We're talking about speed. But today we're going to expand that understanding of speed because it's something that we all really should be working on, and we're going to talk about that. So let's dive in. Marlies, I'm going to ask you first. So with 261 Fearless, when we talk about speed, what are we actually talking about? How do we approach it in a way that feels supportive, safe, and empowering for women?
So when we talk about speed at 261 Fearless, we don't mean pace, split, or performance. We mean supporting women build a positive, confident relationship with their own effort and their own body. Many women come to running with the feeling that speed equals pressure or comparison. So in our 261 Club meet runs, we approach speed very differently. We approach it through play and games. So not always, but mostly. We use short, playful exercises that invite women to try moving a little faster in a way that feels safe and supportive for them. No one is timed, no one is judged, and very importantly, no one gets dropped. Because we at 261 think when speed feels like play instead of pressure, women start to discover what their bodies are capable of.
That's so interesting because I don't think a lot of women think about speed that way. Like you were saying, usually there's this level of pressure, right? This expectation of performance, but it's really so much more than that. So, Juliet, how does this approach to speed help women reconnect with that playful, joyful side of running rather than fearing it?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, when I think about when I was a child, I ran everywhere for pleasure, for fun. And we'd chase each other around the playground. We'd play tag and we'd have races. And it was just something that we did for fun and because it made us feel good. And at some point, that stopped happening. It became that speed was something that was for children and not for adults. And when I became a runner, I was either running or not running. I didn't really have any gears, and all I knew was that I wasn't running very fast. So actually to start being able to change your speed and to run can make you feel like a child again. Like literally you're running across a meadow with your hair blowing in the wind and suddenly you feel like you're 7 and you're running to meet your friends. So I think it's partly about, reconnecting with that inner child and that child who used to have big dreams and was had so much ahead of them, and to reconnect with that and get back that sense of freedom and childlessness, I think is really special.
Yeah, and it's almost as if when you run that way, you are so present in this moment instead of in your head so much with the pressures and performances and what you should be doing and how you should look. And it kind of releases all of those pressures.
Yeah, I think so. When you're not thinking about being red-faced or sweaty or worrying that you're going to look silly, you're just running fast because you want to and because it feels good. So, like you say, turning it around to be something that's pressure free is a tricky thing to do, but we have ways.
We're very clever in that way. So aside from embracing that playful side of us, what are some other wider benefits when women choose to step slightly outside their comfort zone through this speed work?
I think it's all about what you gain from stepping out of your comfort zone, from trying something new, doing something you didn't think you could do, or also seeing yourself getting better at something. It helps to grow your confidence, your self-belief, your pride in your body and what your body can achieve, your capabilities, and nothing to do with running. That just makes you feel empowered and strong and has a big knock-on effect to other areas of your life. It's crazy, isn't it? It's doing something so naturally as a child, but then when you forget how to do it and you're an adult, realizing that it can give you those other benefits outside of the actual running is really amazing, mind-blowing stuff.
Yeah. Marlies, how does our speed naturally change as we age, and what can women continue to do to build and maintain at each stage of life?
So from around the age of 30, women naturally begin to lose bone density. Not only women, also men. But we talk about women here, so I always mention women. So we begin to lose bone density if we don't actively challenge the body. Short, faster efforts create impact and stimulus that help keep bones strong and resilient. So this kind of training is not just about getting quicker, what we do. It's about protecting our bodies for the future.
So then, can you tell us exactly what is happening in our body when we're doing speed work? Why does training our muscles matter, not just with running and how we perform in running, but in our everyday lives?
So when we do speed work, the body switches on systems that we don't use very much during easy, steady running or during everyday life. We start recruiting our fast twitch muscle fibers. So we have type 1 and type 2 muscle fibers, and the type 2 muscle fibers, those are the fast twitch muscle fibers. Those are the fibers that are responsible for quick and powerful reactive movements, for example, like sprints. But these fibers are also activated when we need to catch ourselves when we stumble, or when we need to change the direction quickly, or when we need to react to something when something unexpected happens. So those are the fibers we need for very quick movements. At the same time, the nervous system becomes highly engaged when we do speed work. Speed work trains the communication between brain and muscles. So the movement becomes more coordinated, more responsive, and more efficient. So speed work is not just muscular training, it's also neurological training. But that's not all. There's also there's more. So there's also a strong stimulus for our bones and tendons and for our connective tissues. The short, slightly higher impact of fast movement signals the body to maintain bone density and tissue strength, which is especially important for us as human beings as we age. And because fast twitch fibers are the first ones we lose if we don't use them, so you need to use it, otherwise you lose it. Speed training is one of the most effective ways to preserve this essential capacity.
So speed training works so many different parts of our bodies. So it doesn't only benefit us as runners, it benefits us as we age, preparing our bodies, right, for aging. That's really, really cool. So then if speed training is so important and so good for us, why is it so hard for us to do? Like there feels like there are so many barriers. What's some of the most common barriers that you see, Juliet?
I think there are many, like you say. I think a big one in our population, it comes along to our 261 club meet runs, is fear of judgment. It's just the fear of looking silly, of not being able to run as fast as everybody else, feeling that you are at the back of the pack, that you're left behind, and fear also of falling. If it's something that you haven't done, and as Marlies was saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. Getting the right coordination, feeling stable, worrying about tripping, falling, stumbling, those can be things that definitely stop women wanting to run fast. As well as the fear of it's quite unpleasant sometimes if your heart is really racing and you feel really out of breath, especially if you're somebody that's maybe got something like asthma or we associate feeling short of breath with discomfort often. So that can be sometimes take a little bit of reassurance to get women to realize, oh, it's okay, it's all right to be a little bit out of breath. Our breath will come back in a moment. And then of course there's things like breasts. Breasts can be a real problem when it comes to speed work, especially if you've not got a good sports bra. It can cause breast pain if they're not well supported and they're moving around. It can affect your ability to hold your shoulders back and take a deep breath and have plenty of oxygen for the sprint work as well. So yeah, I mean, goodness, I could go on. Worrying about your pelvic floor, leaking urine when you run really, really fast is really common. 1 in 3 women experience some urinary leaks. So yeah, I mean, a lot of reasons why many women are just running along slowly, which is wonderful. But look how many health benefits we've just learned that you can get from just doing a very small amount of some faster running.
Is there a certain amount of speed training that is ideal? If someone is a regular runner, is there a certain number of minutes a week that they should be spending on speed training?
My opinion of it is that it is challenging, it is tiring, and it isn't something you should do every time you go out for a run. So, especially if you've never done it before, maybe just taking one of your sessions each week and trying to do some little faster bits within that. Or if you're going along to a 261 club meet run, you will probably be doing some speed without realizing you're doing it in terms of games and things. But it's not something that you need to do more than once or max twice a week is what I would say. Do you agree, Marlies?
Yes, I totally agree, because speed work as I mentioned before, it has a very high impact on the body. You shouldn't do it every day. So it's always quality before quantity.
And so the intensity, it doesn't have to be this 45-minute super intense speed run, right? Like that's not what we're talking about.
That's the first way to put people off, isn't it?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, you must run 45 minutes at your max pace. No. That's
just 20, 30 seconds. I mean, you may even need to build up to that. And then a little break for as long as you need to get your breath back and have another little try. It doesn't have to be long. I feel like we're trying to persuade you, Kim, that maybe you should do some speed.
No, I feel like I'm learning so much though, because yes, I will be honest. I think speed work feels intimidating to someone who identifies as a slower runner. When you talk about speed work, there's this mindset of we're thinking about elite athletes or people who are training for a personal record at their next 10K or half marathon or marathon. But speed work, what I'm hearing you say, is important for everyone, no matter what running looks like for them. And it doesn't have to be scary. It can be bursts we're talking about seconds. We're not talking about minutes on end, which makes it feel it's more doable. Even small doses make a difference, right?
Yeah, exactly. So speed work or speed sessions are very time efficient. I mean, you could just go out and run for 20 seconds, then, as Juliet said, have a little rest, and then try it again. Do that 2 or 3 times, and you have a good and solid session. You don't have to go out for hours or do that 10 times. if you go out and do it for 2 or 3 times, that's perfect and very time efficient.
So we talk about 261 training speed through games. You likely don't even know that you're training speed when you're doing it. What's one game that you each really enjoy leading your group in for speed work?
Yeah, we've got so many, but one that I always really like is when you line your members up with their hands behind their back. They're all standing shoulder to shoulder, side by side, and you go along the back of the members and you drop something into one of their hands, like a ball or a key. And when that member gets that in their hands, they are the ones that have to sprint, and then the others have to try and catch them. And I like it because it involves reaction times. And as Marlies was saying, the neuromuscular pathways, they wither if they're not used. So to suddenly have a stimulus to, oh, we've got to go, quick, catch her, or I've got the key, run. And it creates a lot of laughter, which removes the pressure. And really, there's no competition. I mean, yes, sometimes they get caught, sometimes they don't. Sometimes everybody just ends up laughing. But I think to do it in that sort of way, bringing the games in removes the judgment, removes the pressure, and just makes it a whole lot more fun. Whereas if we'd have said, right, we're going to be doing a sprint session and we're going to be doing 20-second sprints, they probably wouldn't even come. And we don't necessarily, as coaches, say to them, we're doing this game because we're training speed. We just do the game because it's a game and it's fun, and that's the objective. Whereas we know that I always say there's a method behind the madness. But that's my favorite one. I don't know about you.
I was thinking of the penguin and polar bear game. It's very hard for me to explain it in English, but I will try. So you have icebergs, and you always have a penguin and a polar bear, and the polar bear is chasing the penguin. The penguin can rescue itself on the ice. It's so hard to explain it in English.
I think you're doing a great job. So the iceberg is the safe place. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it's the safe place. And there's always 2 people standing on this ice. And if one penguin comes to the ice, one of those 2 has to leave, and that one becomes the new polar bear. So that one has to chase the penguin now. So that means now the old polar bear has to switch into the penguin role and try to rescue itself. And then it's the other way around. So it's always kind of reaction, chasing, and so on.
So I think what's nice about that game is you get rests, because when you're on an iceberg, you're safe. And if you have women who aren't used to doing speed, then the rests, well, it's important for everyone who's doing speed, to be honest, but having those, it's like interval training, but sprint intervals, and then you have a rest when you're on the iceberg. So games like that and anything that involves relays and things gives women to have a breather and a chance to rest in between the faster work, which is really important because we don't want to exhaust everybody. We want them to enjoy it and come back. It's also quite handy. I had to run to the shop the other day because it was closing and I needed this ingredient to make this cake. I could run there. Molly's had to get a connection at the airport the other week and had to sprint. So we sometimes relate it just to our running and our health, but actually just for everyday life, just knowing you can do it is quite empowering. So yeah, get out there and just have a practice, have a go.
I don't know about you, but I'm walking away from that conversation believing that speed doesn't have to be serious. It doesn't have to be this scary topic that we have to avoid. And it definitely doesn't have to be perfect. If there's one thing you take away from today, it's that speed can be playful. It can be flexible and completely personal, whatever works for you. It's really just a matter of a few seconds of moving a little quicker, right? A burst of energy. You just need to have that moment of confidence to try something new that pushes you outside your comfort zone just a bit. I want to give a big thank you to Dr. Juliet McGrattan and Marlise Hirschbeck for bringing so much insight and information and real-world perspective to this topic. We're so grateful for the way that you've helped turn the science of speed into something women can use and enjoy and understand why it's so important. So I'm going to leave you with a simple challenge. On one of your runs this week, add just one short moment of speed. Doesn't have to be complicated, just maybe 10 or 20 seconds where you let yourself run a little freer, a little lighter, a little faster, and then just notice how that feels. There's no stopwatch. We're not judging. It's just curiosity of what it could be like. Just have some fun with it. And we'll see you next week.